Hello, Year 7, and welcome to week 7 of this term. What I've got for you today is a presentation on how to write a paragraph, because in your assessment, which is now the online quiz or online exam, there will be a section of that exam that you'll need to write a paragraph. And answering a question in visual arts is a little bit different when you're doing it than in something like science or maths or English, because you're actually responding to an image. So you've got to be able to analyze or break down or discuss what you're seeing and tie it back into the question. So there are many ways, as I was just saying, to write a paragraph. Some people use those acronyms, TEAL, TEAL, PEAL, like the burger sort of thing. We're just going to keep it simple, and I'm just going to break it down into 4 parts. So, the question that I'm going to do my example on was, how has Bert Flugelman used the elements of design in his sculpture Tetrapus? So remembering that in your exam you'll have your book, so it's open book, but hopefully you do a bit of study and a bit of revision so you know what your 7 elements of design are. So, you're going to have to write a response that is a paragraph long. This is Tetrapus. If you don't know what this one is, a couple of videos back, there was some responding questions you had to do about it. So, the first thing you're going to do is a topic sentence. So you need to address what the question is asking. The question was asking, how has Bert used the elements of design in this sculpture? So things like, how has he used tone, colour, line, shape, size, scale, and texture, those sorts of things. So in a topic sentence, you want to directly address the question. It can be more than one sentence, but you want to hit the nail on the head and say, this is what it is and this is how it's done. So, a good topic sentence might be, Bert Flugelman has used many elements of design in this work. You've addressed the question. A better sentence would be, Bert Flugelman has used many elements of design in this work, the most obvious being shape, texture, and size. But the best one would be, the elements of design are structural components that help create an artwork. Bert Flugelman has used various elements of design in his sculpture Tetrapus. The most noticeable are shape, texture, and size. So you see, that's given me so if I didn't know what what the elements of design were, so when I'm writing a paragraph, you might just assume you've got to describe it to someone who has no idea what you're talking about. So if you give them a very clear and descriptive statement, it makes writing your paragraph a lot more easier. So there's some examples there. What you want to do next is explain what you've just written in your topic sentence. So you've just told me that he's used the elements of design and you've given me a few examples. So you've just said, for example, shape, texture, and size are the elements he's used. So you need to not only just say that, but you've actually got to provide evidence. And that's really important, because it's not just about saying, oh, he's used line. Well, that's well and good, but you need to explain, how has he used line? What examples can you see in the work? So you've got to that's your evidence. So you're explaining, saying he has used size in Tetrapus, and then giving evidence by saying the work is 12 meters tall and stands very big in a open seascape. So, an example paragraph with evidence included would be, so you've got your topic sentence in the red. Oh, beautiful. And then you've got in the green, you've sort of explained your topic sentence a bit more. So the sculpture is created, you're giving me a description. So using large shapes with 4 curved lines coming out of the spade top part to represent the shape of an octopus or a squid thing. So also the metal used to create the sculpture gives it a cold, sort of smooth texture. And then your evidence is from the work. So it gives it sort of, when you look at the work, you sort of feel like it's cold and it's slippery and it's got that watery feel. So this slideshow has some, what do you call it? Animations. There we go. But you get that? So if you want, you can write this. Oh, actually, it's not finished yet. Don't write this down just yet. But all of that explanation and evidence backs up your topic sentence. So you might have a different way of how to do this, but as long as you're including the evidence from the description of the artwork and linking it back to the question, you should be fine. So, to finish a paragraph, you always link it back to the question, even if it is the very most obvious thing that you've just said in the topic sentence. Always link it back, because you want to link between what you've just said and the question, just to make the reader or the marker or someone go, oh yeah. So, the question was, how has Bert Flugelman used the elements of design in his sculpture? So from there, a exemplar example would be, that's our topic sentence. So you've discussed what the elements of design are. You've talked about how Bert Flugelman's used various elements of design, but the most noticeable, you've given me 3, which is good: shape, texture, and size. You've then described that using evidence from the artwork itself. So you've said, for example, you've got the shapes in there, you've talked about the texture and the size of the work and how it makes the audience respond to that. So then the purple line is your wrapping up question. So you've just said, using the elements of design, Bert Flugelman has created an artwork that is site specific to the beach. So, and it has a feel of aquatic animal from the ocean. Whoop. So you've just tied it back in, saying he's created an artwork using the elements of design. Here's a few examples, and it gives this specificness and a feel from using those elements. So now it's your turn. What you're going to do is you're going to answer the very similar question, but about Jeff Koons and his sculpture bouquet of tulips. So what you're going to do is, there's a sheet on the hub which has this picture on it. You can print it out and glue it in, but if you don't have a printer, that's fine. Just look at the artwork as you're writing a paragraph in your book or on your computer. So I want you to write a paragraph on your own. That should say own, not our. And in response to that question. So if you want, you can use the scaffolding. I'll put this slideshow up in the hub. You can scaffold it based on this one, and just if you need, just slot in what you keep that structure and just slot in what you need. So instead of Bert Flugelman, it would be Jeff Koons. Instead of Tetrapus, it would be the bouquet of flowers. The elements of design may change. You might choose to do color, or scale, or another element, and then you describe it and link it back to the question. So that's it. That's what you're doing this lesson. If you have any questions, talk to me on Zoom. This is important. This isn't just something to fill time. This was going to be a very similar question in your exam. So make sure that you do this. It is good revision and good learning. All right. I hope to see you all on Zoom very soon.